Hey guys, welcome to today's lesson. We are looking at division. Okay, so I'm going to look at an example question. You might get something like this. 152 divided by, let's say, 4. Okay, now, in primary school, you probably would have been used to setting this up in a long division sort of format. It's hard to see, just trying to do 152 divided by 4 off the top of your head, it's going to be too challenging. I guess, our biggest one off the top of our head would probably be 412s, which are going to be 48. Above 48, it's a bit too challenging because we don't know our times tables above 12. Well, most of us don't anyway. So what you would have done previously, you would have put your long division sign, put the 4 at the front, and then put 152 underneath the brackets there. Okay, so we're going to do the same sort of setup as you would for long division, but to be honest, in high school, long division really doesn't have much of a place. So we're going to be using a method called short division. Shock horror, it sounds a lot different, doesn't it? Okay, it is pretty much the same as long division, but just doing it a shorter way. So, our first step is the same step as if you're doing long division. You'd see how many times 4 goes into 1. Well, that's not going to work because we know that's 0 times. You could put a 0 there, but to be honest, that's just a waste of our time. So, because it doesn't go into 1, I'm going to put on line 15 and say how many 4s go into 15? Well, 3 4s are 12, 4 4s are 16, so it can't be 4 because it's a bit too much. So I'm going to put a 3 there. Now, when you were doing long division, you would have said 3 times 4 is 12, put the 12 underneath and then work downwards. Okay, we're going to work simply across and say the same sort of thing. 4 times 3 is 12, which means there must be 3 left over. And I'm simply going to put a 3 next to the 2. Now, we've already dealt with the 15, so that's fine. So what I've got left now is 32. So the question I now ask myself is, how many times does 4 go into 32? Well, it goes in 8 times. Therefore, I've got my answer of 38. Okay, so not hugely different to long division, but certainly, guys, it's a lot quicker. I'm going to choose the next one, 256 divided by 3. So, our first thing to do is to set up your division brackets. Put the 3 at the front and put the 256 underneath the division sign there. And now I'll work from left to right. How many times does 3 go into 2? Well, that doesn't work. So how many times does 3 go into 25? Well, 3 8s are 24, so that's pretty close. That just means there is 1 left over. How many 3s go into 16? Ooh, this is going to be a bit more of a challenging question. Well, 3 4s are 12, 3 5s are 15, which means there is 1 left over. Now, this is where it gets a bit trickier. In primary school, you would have said, well, 3 5s are 15, therefore there is remainder 1. Now, in high school, we simply don't use remainder, okay? It's as simple as that. We don't want to use it at all. So try to get that out of your head. What I say is, well, there is 1 number left over, and I'm dividing that by 3. So there's 1 number left out of 3, and what we now make is a fraction, which says 85 and 1/3. It's much more accurate. As it's got more sense, it tells you how much is left over. So it's got 1/3 is left over apart from 85. So when we look at in high school, I'm going to put there no remainder. We never put remainder. Okay, I guess sometimes you might get a multiple choice in the NAPLAN paper that says what remainder would be left over if, but guys, it is very unlikely you get that, and you won't get it in school, in our school exams, because we simply don't write it as a remainder. We write it as a fraction, or later on we'll even write it as a decimal. Alright, so I'm going to give you a couple of questions now. I want you to see if you can have a crack at these ones. Apologies there. So this will be EG3. Some of these will have remainders, some of them won't. I'm going to do 2,564 divided by 4. I'm going to do 5,625 divided by 5. Okay, so pause this, have a quick go at it, and then go through the answers. Okay, welcome back. So the first thing is first, obviously, first is first. We put the 4 outside the brackets there and put 2, 5, 6, 4. How many times does 4 go into 2? Well, that doesn't work. How many times does 4 go into 25? Well, 4 6s are 24, which means there is 1 left over. So I've dealt with that. How many times does 4 go into 16? Well, it goes into 16 4 times. How many times does 4 go into 4? Well, 4 goes into 4 once. I've dealt with that number. My answer is 641. Okay, next one, again, I'm going to put my division brackets up there. I'm going to put 5 at the front, then 5, 6, 2, 5. And I'll do the same format. How many times does 5 go into 5? Well, that goes into 5 once. How many 5s go into 6? Well, that's once with 1 left over. How many 5s go into 12? Well, there are 2 5s in 12, because 2 5s are 10, which means there are 2 left over. So how many 5s are in 25? Well, there are 5. Okay, so there were no remainders in those ones, so it was a little bit easier. But that was 4, so e.g. 5 now. So these probably will. So 2, 6, 4, 7 divided by, well, they will, 3, and then 6 will be 2, 5, 7, 8 divided by possibly this one, but I'm not 100% sure. Probably not. Okay, pause it, have a crack, and then I'll go through the answers. Welcome back. Did you get the answers? Let's have a look. 3 into 2, 6, 4, 7. I will show you a quicker way to do this in terms of setup in a moment. Okay, so 3 goes into 2 0 times, so 3 goes into 26 8 times. 8 3s are 24, which means there are 2 left over. 3 goes into 24, exactly 8 times. 3 goes into 7 twice. How many is left over? Well, 2 3s are 6, so there is 1 out of 3. So it's 882 and 1/3. Okay, nice and easy, hey? Next one, 4 goes into 2 5 7 8. So 4 goes into 2 0 times, 4 goes into 25 6 times. 6 4's 24, so 1 left over. 4 goes into 17, well, 4 times, because 4 4's are 16, which means there is 1 left over. 4 goes into 18, well, 4 4's are 16, which means there is 2 left over out of 4. Now at this stage, guys, if you get 644 and 2 over 4 or 2 quarters, then I am very happy. Okay, the reason I say if you get that at the moment I'm happy is because that actually can be simplified down to 644, because 2 quarters, because we haven't done fractions yet, but when we do fractions, what you'll see, if I cut this shape up into quarters, so 4 pieces, 2 of them have been shaded, which means that 1/2 of that shape has been shaded, and that means that 2 quarters is the same as a half. Therefore, you could have had either of those 2 answers. Now, I mentioned very briefly that there is a slightly quicker way. It's not much quicker, okay? It's just in terms of setup. A lot of time, guys, if I got the question 2, 6, 4, 7 divided by 3, I probably wouldn't even write that long division or short division symbol out. Okay, I encourage you to, but certainly what I would just do is this. I'd actually just have an imaginary one and say, well, 3 goes into 2 0 times, 3 goes into 26 8 times, because 8 3s are 24 with 2 left over. 3 goes into 24 8 times, 3 goes into 7 2 times with 1 left over, 1 over 3. And I got my answer. It's not much quicker, but it just means I'm not writing out that long division thing each time. But certainly, guys, if it's a remainder, please write it as a fraction. Have a go at the questions that I've set for homework. Very important you do so. Division, I use this all the time. Okay, this strategy. It is very quick and easy, but it does come down to your times tables, because obviously these numbers are too big. But if you don't know your basic times tables like 3/8 to 24 or 4/8 to 32, those sorts of things, this still becomes challenging. So make sure you know your tables and no remainder. Okay, write it as a fraction. Have a fantastic day, guys. I hope this was useful to you.